Update. My husband died and I have to pretend that he was a great man who loved me. Original post. My husband passed away 3 months ago and I felt relieved when it happened. He abused me financially, mentally, and even physically. When I got pregnant, he convinced me to quit my job, promising that he would take care of me. From that moment on, I couldn't buy anything without his permission, not even a single cream. Even when I had a little money of my own, I still had to ask him before buying anything. What was mine was his, and what was his was also his. I stayed because I still loved him and had nowhere else to go. I had such low self-esteem that I let him walk all over me. By the time I stopped loving him, he had already had his first affair. He made me believe it was my fault because I didn't want to have sex for months after giving birth, which had left me torn and required stitches. I was already planning my escape, saving money little by little while working from home, since he wouldn't let me work outside due to his extreme jealousy. I wanted to save enough to hire a lawyer. He was having another affair, this time with a male friend of his, which at least kept him busy and away from me. I didn't care anymore that he was ignoring me. I wanted him as far away as possible. I knew about the affair and could have caused a big scene, but I didn't. I kept quiet and focused on my escape while he and his lover continued their secret relationship. I felt nothing but disgust for my husband. Then, my husband died in a way I never would have expected. Now he's being treated like a martyr. When someone dies, do all their sins just disappear? Because even my family who knew about his affairs and the way he manipulated me now talk about what a good man he was and say we shouldn't speak ill of the dead. Everyone around me talks about how beautiful our relationship was. His family goes on about what a great man he was and how he always focused on providing for me and our child. His affair partner even hugged me at the funeral, saying my husband loved me. His friends kept talking about what a wonderful person he was. They all act like he was some kind of saint, saying he's now an angel in heaven. I have to pretend to be sad. The day he died, I cried a lot, but it wasn't out of sadness. I cried with relief because I felt free. It would have taken me many years to save enough for lawyers with my small business, and he would have made my life a living hell if he ever found out I was hiding money. He told me so every time I stood up for myself. But now, I have the house. I have everything. I receive monthly widow's benefits, and I have full custody of my children. I've started seeing a psychologist, and everyone thinks I'm doing it to cope with grief. But that's not the case. I'm doing it to heal from the abuse I suffered. It was really hard to pretend to be sad at the funeral. But I did it for my child. I did it because now everything is over, and I am finally free. If I had made a scene, my ex-mother-in-law would have tried to take everything from me. She was just like him. But now I'm just the sad widow who needs help in their eyes. The clueless widow who didn't know anything. That's what's allowing me to be free and keep what I deserve. Edit. We are not from an Islamic country and here same-sex couples can live and marry freely. He cheated on me with a man, just like he cheated on me with a woman. I guess he was bisexual. Now for the top comments before reading the update. I'd sell that house and move far, far away from his family. For now, I can sell the house, but in the future when I get a better job, I plan to move and finally cut off contact with them. For now, I can only move away little by little. Here there is a law that prohibits preventing grandparents from seeing their grandchildren. I had already left my ex when he died, but I was still so relieved. My son was a toddler, and with that abusive POS gone, I wouldn't feel that fear of him hurting my son or breaking no contact order again and hurting me. My son never needs to know what his dad was. And of course, I was relieved there would be no more victims. I still have a hard time receiving condolences. The man tried to end me and would beat me over something as minor as spilled coffee. I empathize with what you are experiencing, the relief and the secrecy you keep around your feelings. But I'm happy for you. I'm happy for your loss. You deserve nothing but peace. Why is it when abusive/horrible people die, we pretend they were good people, when we know they're rotten and the world is a better place without them? Why can't we be truthful? My dad recently died after 60 years of marriage to my mom. I'm kinda glad I had an emergency and missed his memorial service where hundreds of people showed up to talk about what a great inspiration and pillar of society he was. To me, he was a wife beater, a cheater, a child abuser, a narcissist, and a household dictator. I am looking forward to my mom's last years without that albatross around her neck. Somehow she still mourns him a little, but I think she is more relieved than sad that he is gone too. Solidarity, OP. You were not alone. I've experienced the same thing. My late husband was an a-hole. When he died, I found 120K in debt, amphetamines, benzodiazepines, and a lover. When he died, I and my children were free. I kind of kept my mouth shut for the sake of his mother, but everyone else knew he was a jerk. Not speaking ill of the dead is horse dung. The trauma and pain they cause does not disappear when they die. Not speaking ill of the dead just supports old legacy BS. Screw that. Is it great that you can't defame dead people? No one can sue you. Not their family, estate, or friends. No one can sue you for saying bad things about a dead person. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. You can't defame the dead. So say what you want. Say it quietly. Say it loudly. Put it on a billboard. Put it on flyers and pass around the neighborhood. Now for the update. It's been several weeks since I last posted, and I didn't expect my post to end up in other places. Honestly, I had completely forgotten that I posted here, but a few days ago, my late husband's lover and friend visited my house, saying he had found my post. I didn't expect him to find this, and it scared me a bit. One of my sons let him in, and since I hadn't heard a doorbell, I had no choice but to talk to him to avoid making a scene in front of my kids. I also wanted to hear what he had to say. Once we were alone, he told me that he knew I was aware of his affair with my husband because of a post I allegedly made on TikTok. However, I never posted anything on TikTok, so I think someone else must have uploaded it there. He admitted that my husband wasn't the best spouse, but insisted that he was a great friend and a hard-working man, respected by everyone. He said that even his family misses him terribly, and that despite his mistakes, I should let go of the past and stop digging into it, claiming that we're all better off that way. He kept insisting to the point where I felt intimidated. His attitude reminded me of my husband, and it was the first time I had that feeling with anyone other than him. I usually have no problem talking to men, but this situation made me feel like I was on the verge of a panic attack. He's clearly scared that I'll reveal everything. He's gay, and I don't know if he has a boyfriend, but perhaps he does, which could explain why he doesn't want me to say anything about the affair. I've been a submissive woman for years. My ex-husband turned me into a fearful person, someone I wasn't before. He made me the kind of woman who always kept her head down. But when he died, I felt liberated. I cried with relief for days. When this man came into my house and started telling me what to do, it felt like seeing my ex-husband all over again, giving me instructions on how to behave and what I should do. This is a man who knew very well that I was in an abusive relationship, because he knew what my ex was like and still chose to sleep with him. The man my husband made me cook for, only to then sleep with him as if I were just a maid, was now at my house telling me what a great person my ex was, and that I should keep quiet. It was too much. I wanted to slap him, but I ended up punching him in the face. I don't regret it. It felt like hitting my husband too. I yelled at him to leave or else I would tell everyone what had happened. He left and hasn't contacted me since. Initially, my plan was to stay silent and let go of the past. But that's different from having this man come into my home and try to control me like I'm some sort of doll. Maybe my reaction wasn't the best, but I'm tired of being told to shut up. I never had the courage to stand up to my husband, but in that moment, I felt like I finally did. I haven't told anyone about the situation yet, nor do I plan to, but if he tries anything, I won't hesitate to post on TikTok or Facebook about everything. Regarding the house, with the economic crisis, I'm not sure anyone can afford to buy a house like this right now. For now, I'm focusing on finding a better job so I can eventually rent out this house as a source of income. My other goal is to buy a small piece of land, no matter how far away, just to have something that belongs to me and my children. My children don't seem to miss their father much, and I understand why. It took a while to find them a child psychologist, but they recently started attending sessions and are doing well. I'm also seeing a psychologist. One of the best decisions I've made is gradually distancing myself from my ex-mother-in-law and even my own family. I've started making excuses to see them less often, citing work or saying we're not at home. While I still let my ex-mother-in-law visit occasionally, I think even the kids are happier now that they see me in a better mood. I doubt many people are still interested in this, but thank you for the messages. However, please understand that cultures and laws vary. Here, buying a house or moving to another part of the country within a month is nearly impossible for many. I truly loathe the idea that you should not speak ill of the dead. If they were evil, I see no reason we should pretend they were saints. Our memories of them certainly were not of saints. I have a friend whose abusive husband was killed in a road accident. I feel bad for her because even though he was an abusive BOS, feelings are complicated, and she had a hard time with that. I feel bad for his kids because they lost their dad, but I do not feel bad for him, not one bit. Never liked him in life, and death doesn't change that. He deserved to die. Seriously, the audacity of the affair partner to come to OP's house. Screw that guy. And she has a perfect out if the guy tells anyone about the punch. All she has to say is that he made a crude pass at her, so she fought back. Last story. I, 32 female, think that I have to break up with my fiancé, 35 male, after he embarrassed me in public over a sandwich. For starters, there are many layers to this situation that make it feel like it has to be the end. My partner and I have been together for over 9 years, and honestly, the first 4 to 5 years were great. I had never felt this way about anyone in my life. But things started going downhill after that. I began to realize that he always had an excuse for not helping me with cooking or cleaning, no matter how much I begged for help. He started making me feel like visiting my family was a burden on him, making snide remarks the entire time, and turning every trip into a miserable experience that left me in tears. I know it might sound dumb, but I've even started having panic attacks because of how much he ruins the holidays. He doesn't communicate in a healthy way, and seems to wait until the last possible moment to apologize, if he even does. I've been at the last straw point for a few years now, but I always end up forgiving him because, well, I love him. It's like that saying, when it's great, it's really great, but when it's bad, it's really bad. Now, let me tell you about what happened a few days ago when he lost his temper in public, over a sandwich. We both had a day off, so we decided to run some errands and then grab lunch at a sandwich shop. Honestly, the first half of the day was fine, but everything changed when it was time to eat. We walked in, and because it was noon, the place was packed. Unfortunately, there was only one person working, so we had to wait in line for about 20 minutes. It was frustrating, but I try to keep things positive because I know he gets irritated easily. While we were waiting, we overheard the employee tell other customers that some ingredients were either out or had gone bad. It might have been due to the hurricane the week before. While we didn't get hit too hard, some areas lost power, but I'm not entirely sure what was going on. For a bit of background, I had an ex who used to work at this particular sandwich chain, and he introduced me to a sandwich I've loved since I was about 18 or 19. I introduced it to my fiancé, and we've always ordered the same thing whenever we go there. Finally, it was our turn and we started our order. Bread, meat, cheese, then into the toaster. When it came out, I asked for lots of spinach. The employee looked at me and broke the news that the spinach had gone bad. Bummer, but it wasn't the end of the world. Or at least I didn't think so. My fiancé standing next to me suddenly exploded. Are you freaking serious? Dude, F this shit. She did this on purpose. We're freaking leaving. Come on. He then stormed out, leaving me standing there while everyone in the shop stared uncomfortably, like watching a Karen meltdown. Except it was my partner causing the scene. Just to add, I have extreme social anxiety, and he is absolutely aware of how severe it is. I stood there and quietly told the employee that he was upset, and we might just head out. That's when she said, "Nah, if you leave, I'm calling the cops." My anxiety went through the roof. The cops. What? I checked my phone, and my fiancé had texted me, "Get that food and we're done." So now, not only were the cops potentially involved, but I was also apparently getting broken up with. I texted him back saying he had left me in a bad situation and knew how bad my anxiety was. Meanwhile, the employee said, "I can't believe you would come in here, knowing we're low on ingredients, and waste what little we have." And honestly, she had a point. I was going to settle for lettuce instead of spinach. But now I was standing there, being blamed for something I didn't do. I got another text from him. Screw it. Find someone else to come and get you. Great. Now I was stranded. I finished building the sandwiches, paid, and tried to hide behind a bag of food, hoping he was still there. Thankfully, he was. Unfortunately, the entire ride home was awful. For 15 minutes straight, he screamed at me, blaming me for everything, saying I wasn't a team player, and that I had chosen my side. I was bawling the entire time. I haven't spoken to him for 3 days. He sent me a text apologizing, but honestly, I'm feeling fed up. I also have a family event tomorrow, but I guess I can't go because he has the only vehicle. So once again, I'm going to disappoint my family. I don't know, I'm just stressed out and unsure what to do anymore. If you've made it to the end, thank you for letting me vent. If you have any advice, I would really appreciate it. I think this is a wonderful wake-up call, telling you that you need to be done because this isn't how you want to be treated by your partner. She's in an abusive relationship, and if she marries him, it will only get way worse. He's already isolating her from her family. Having one car was by design. He threatens to leave her in public. She needs to go to her family and break up with him over text and have them get her things for her. He's dangerous. OP, I was with someone for 10 years who did this multiple times, among other horrible things. I've been divorced from him for 20 years, thankfully. Please get out of there, but be careful because he sounds unhinged. For me, it was just 3.5 years and it was absolute hell. The first year was good, and then it was just like what OP was describing. Absolutely awful. One time, he literally drove off because he didn't agree with me being polite to someone, and I just stood there. He would pull this crap for family events too, even during a freaking funeral. No, no, no. OP, get out. I loved this guy so much, I thought I'd marry him. And I'm thankful I caught him cheating, because I was holding on to straws too, forgiving him over and over. The situation you just described would be one-on-one what my ex and I would be like. And it's really not okay. I've been without him for some years now, and I feel relieved and liberated every single day. It took me literally over a year to stop being surprised that no one started screaming at me or people around me when stuff like you're describing happened. All of this is unacceptable. You are not responsible for his behavior, and a clerk, who had every right to be angry at him, had no right to threaten you with the cops. Dump him, but don't go back there. Do you know what the cops say when they get called out to a restaurant because someone has decided they don't want an order? Because they were informed after the order began that an essential item is not in stock? They say, "Why the hell did you call us out here? You did nothing wrong."
Am I the a-hole for being upset that I'm not involved in my brother's wedding, which I'm paying for? I, female 31, have a brother, male 29, and he's getting married next year. We lost our mom in 2012 and our dad in 2016, and we are each other's only living relatives. I have a good job. I earn a lot of money, £150,000 per year. My brother also has a good job, but doesn't earn anywhere near as much, £35,000. We were raised to always look after each other and share. My partner and I are child-free. Over the years, I have paid my brother's master's degree, paid a down payment on his house. Our parents rented, so there was no family home. I will also be paying for my future sister-in-law, female 26, and my brother to have future rounds of IVF. Sister-in-law works part-time and earns about $50,000 a year. Her parents are not well off. My brother asked if I could contribute to the cost of the wedding. I said I'd pay for it, rented a small with 100 guests, and set up a wedding account for them into which I put £25,000, which they both have access to. Sister-in-law's entire family are involved as bridesmaids and groomsmen, while my husband and I are just guests. Brother and sister-in-law have been going around venues with their family, and I get emailed the costing if it's selected. I told my brother I don't mind paying for the wedding, but I feel really weird that everyone else is involved in the decision and I'm just involved with paying. Brother has said that I'm not our parents, I can't replace our parents. That's why I'm not involved. Why can't I just do something nice without making him feel crap? I feel like an a-hole for causing drama, but also feel taken advantage of. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You are not his parents, but let's face it. You have certainly financially supported him like one in so many different ways. And it doesn't sound like you are trying to control things. Just want to be included the same as sister-in-law's family has been. Now that he is going to be a great big married adult, I think it is time you cut off your support and let him be the independent person he is. You are not the a-hole. He wants to cut you out of even being involved, then he doesn't need your money. He has it right. You're not his parent, so stop acting like it. He's an adult. He can worry about his own finances. I don't think you should even pay for the wedding. If he is behaving like this now, he'll just cut you off and contact again when he needs help. So not worth of your efforts and money. Not the a-hole obviously, but he's a major one. Having made a commitment to pay for the wedding, backing out would be an a-hole move. Especially as there was no discussion of what involvement OP would have. To impose retrospective conditions is not fair. However, going forward, OP's sibling is not entitled to anything. I hope OP hasn't actually promised them anything concrete about the IVF. Not the a-hole. You are paying for entirely too much. If they can't afford a wedding on their own, then they can't afford kids. You need to stop being the gravy train. They also need to reduce the cost of the wedding. £25,000? Not the a-hole. You're being taken advantage of. What kind of a relationship do you have? Because this looks like it only comes down to money when talking about your brother. Edit. After reading your replies, the sisters are bridesmaids. The brothers of the bride are groomsmen. You didn't even get an invite to the engagement party? You have paid for so much stuff aside from their wedding. Also pretend to pay for IVF. Let me tell you, if they don't have enough money for IVF, they probably don't have enough to maintain a child. I advise you to please stop paying for their stuff. It's too much. They probably will ask OP for support on a regular basis. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my sister-in-law to my wedding? Backstory. My 26 male older brother Jack, 32 male, was once the golden child of the family. Then when he started dating Jill, 32 female, our mother became weirdly jealous. She would constantly run Jill down behind her back and would always make snarky remarks to her face. To her credit, Jill never retaliated and always remained friendly. When Jack and Jill got married, my mother's behavior towards her worsened, to the point she ruined their wedding day. When Jack announced that they were having a baby, Mom suddenly wanted to be Jill's best friend. This changed again soon as Jill gave birth to my niece. I won't go into detail, but her behavior resulted in Jack and Jill going no contact with her. It has been 3 years since all of this occurred. I still speak to all of them and see my mother regularly. I recently got engaged to my partner Laura, 24 female, and we have been planning our wedding. I've asked Jack to be my best man, and he agreed. Since we will be busy most of the day, his interactions with Mom will be pretty limited. I was feeling confident that our day would be drama-free, until Laura came home from wedding dress shopping looking stressed out. When I asked her what was wrong, and she told me that my mom, who was invited along with her mother and our bridesmaids, made a comment about how she was looking forward to putting Jill in her place at the wedding. Apparently, she then ran Jill down to anyone that would listen and made everyone feel uncomfortable. Understandably, we both became worried that Mom's feud with Jill would ruin our wedding day. So we came to the decision to invite Jill in order to avoid this. When I spoke to Jack about our decision, he got upset and kept repeating that this was his wife, the mother of his child and my sister-in-law that we were excluding for something that wasn't her fault. I repeatedly told him that I think Jill is great and that I don't think she has done anything wrong, but I don't want drama in my wedding day or for her to be put into an uncomfortable situation with our mother. Jack ended up telling me that if Mom can't even last a day without starting drama, then maybe I should be reassessing who needs to be uninvited, and that if his wife couldn't attend, he wouldn't either. I feel like I am stuck behind a rock at a hard place here. I know Jill hasn't done anything wrong, and have never been able to understand why Mom is so rude to her when she has always been nice to Laura. I know that my mom is the one in the wrong with all of this, but she is my mother and want her at my wedding. Just to add, Jill texted me after my conversation with Jack and told me that she understands and not to worry. She would talk to Jack once it calmed down. You're the a-hole. You're punishing the victim and enabling an abuser. Couldn't have said it better myself. You're the a-hole. I mean, it really is that simple. I know it's their wedding and all that, but the my wedding, my rules excuse goes away when it means enabling mistreatment/bullying. There's no other factor weighing in his decision. It's a choice between having his mom and the best man's wife, his sister-in-law, who she bullied at his wedding. Jill isn't the one starting drama. Why would she be punished for it? If anything, an invite the bully. Opie's choice will communicate to his mom that alienating and bullying Jill with her mean girl tricks is okay and leads to no consequences. Like, take a hard look at the situation. Even the event that leads Opie and his bride to uninvite Jill was caused by his mother, making everyone uncomfortable. She's so nice to Laura. What makes Opie think she won't set her sights on his wife one day? And if she does, what will Opie do? Stand there with his enabling ways while mommy dearest bullies Laura? You're the a-hole. Your mother is the root cause of these problems, not Jill. Either confront her like an adult and ask her to act like a mature person, or uninvite her to the wedding. Uninviting Jill absolutely makes you the a-hole. Better yet, uninvite your mom from your life. She sounds like a toxic textbook abuser. Yep, definitely. Jill should be invited because she is your brother's wife and she has done nothing wrong. And this is a good hill for Jack to die on. Your mother is the one that should be uninvited. She's definitely an a-hole. You're the a-hole. Jack is right. You're punishing the victim of bullying and mistreatment and rewarding your mom's terrible behavior. Thank goodness Jill has a husband to stand up for her. Laura obviously does not. Laura better sees this as a red flag in her relationship. Opie's now the golden child and married to his mom. You're the a-hole. While gown shopping for your future bride's dress, your mother announces how she cannot wait to make your wedding all about her issues with your sister-in-law. And your response is to ban your sister-in-law and not your mother? What the heck is wrong with you? She's already taken that joyful, happy occasion and made it about herself. I mean, I'm guessing you have said absolutely nothing to your mom just how out of line that was. They're out looking to buy the dress she says I do in. And your mom decides it's about her and make herself the focus. Dude, you've got to stand up for yourself and your future bride. This isn't your mom's opportunity to shame someone. This is for you and your future bride to share with the people who love and support you. Get your head out of your bottom. Apologize to your brother, your sister-in-law, and especially your bride. Then tell your mother she's no longer invited. Tell her you have hired a couple off-duty police officers to make sure she's unable to gain entry. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my wife to shut the heck up because of the remark she made towards my 16-year-old sister? My male 28 sister, female 16, was diagnosed with cancer in 2021, and treatment has been hard on her. She is the shy type and can be incredibly insecure and lack confidence about her looks. Any remark, no matter how small, would get to her and affect her right away. It's a while since I've seen her, and the other day I was FaceTiming her and my parents to check on her. My wife joined us and sat next to me without taking her eyes off my sister. Note that my wife is a makeup artist and tends to make plenty of assumptions about other women's faces, which isn't a cool thing. But anyway, my wife started talking to my sister about whether or not she started caring for her skin. And my sister said she recently started a clean and clear lotion to improve her look. But my wife chuckled and said that clearly this product isn't working because she, my sister, still looked like a cancer patient even though she's recovered. I was stunned, and so were my parents. My sister immediately got up and left the room. I looked at my wife and told her what she said was messed up, and that she should shut the hell up with her nonsense remarks, because you just insulted and hurt my sister. She started backpedaling, saying she was just giving her opinion, and a fight started. My parents hung up, and my wife flipped out, saying I humiliated her by telling her to STHU in front of my parents, and claimed I had no respect for her to speak to her like that. I told her what she said made my sister cry, knowing that she's been through hell, and can be very insecure about her self-image. But my wife argued that she's being too sensitive, and she was again just giving her opinion and giving her advice in terms of skincare. I stormed off, leaving her yelling about what an a-hole I was to speak to her this way, and ruined the respect my parents had for her. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Bullying your little sister who suffered through freaking cancer for her looks is divorce material. Was she a high school mean girl or something? Did you find her on a set of a teenage drama movie? The audacity to speak like this to your sister. I cannot stay with that person. Do you plan on having children? Is it makeup about empowerment? Sorry, but this got my blood boiling. I'm ready to call you an a-hole if you do not seriously think that relationship. This. Not the a-hole to OP for standing up for your little sister, but you could be one if you're not considering divorce. Unacceptable behavior, and no apology or feelings of remorse. Agreed. This is divorce-worthy behavior. She's a makeup artist. If she wanted, she could have helped OP's sister with her looks tremendously. But instead of doing right by her sister-in-law, who's previously struggling, she chose to drag her down. It's not just an opinion. If nobody asks for her opinion, said opinion will just be a potentially hurtful remark no one asked for. She knows exactly what she was doing, but flipped out when OP rightfully called her out on it. Note my wife is a makeup artist and tends to make plenty of assumptions about other women's faces, which isn't a cool thing. I'm so glad you noticed that about her, but have you ever confronted her on that? I kept reading and Jesus Christ on a stick. I would have shut the laptop straight away while your wife was still talking. Giving her opinion? Guess what, lady? Not everything that falls from your mouth is straight gold or wanted. Oh my god, I wouldn't know how to be with a person like this. So toxic and oblivious to their own terrible behavior. Not the a-hole. Edit. Came back after I recovered a little. Your wife is a terrible, terrible and small person. She told your baby sister, of 16 years old, a teenager who at that age struggles enough with self-confidence issues, and a cancer survivor on top of that she looks terrible. And after that tries to die on the hill that you ruined and respect of your parents for her? I've spent 2 years working on myself and thought I hung up the pitchforks because I tried to act more mature and composed on the internet. But I'm getting twitchy in my fingers for that pitchfork. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to invite my estranged mother-in-law to my daughter's birthday? When I was dating my now husband, his mom didn't seem to like me and we had a couple issues, which I'd say had to do with her not handling change well, or us just being very different people and struggling to understand each other. But the relationship wasn't awful. When we got engaged, she rolled her eyes and made snarky comments, but she did offer to pay. She had quite a bit of money, so we didn't think anything of it, and accepted. She was kind of rude during wedding planning, but I didn't think much of it. Then she walked out of wedding dress shopping, pulled all her money out of the wedding, and stopped speaking to us. To be clear, nothing happened. She just stood up and walked out. The only minor explanation I got was from her sister, who said she just feels like it is never about her, and she is sick of paying for other people to have things. I didn't get it at all. It wasn't about her and she didn't have to pay. She offered. My husband tried to contact her, but she was adamant that she wanted no contact. He let go, and we didn't see her for 10 years. Then ran into her somewhere and they reconnected. She's married now. He has 2 sisters he's never met, and we have 3 kids she's never met. My husband wanted a relationship with her and mother-in-law was open to it. He met with her a couple times, and she never gave any explanation for ghosting us beyond a relationship wasn't working for her, and she was sick of doing things for other people. But besides paying, which she offered, she never did anything for anyone. I have no respect for her, but I'm fine with my husband wanting a relationship. I had dinner with her and her husband once, and she showed absolutely zero remorse. The issue is my husband invited her to our daughter's birthday without consulting me. He admits he got carried away and never should have done that, but would like her to come and bring her 2 kids. I am not comfortable at all with this. I don't want her to meet my kids. I don't think a birthday party is the appropriate place. If she had shown some remorse, I would feel differently. Not a home. A child birthday is definitely not an appropriate time for the children to meet their relatives. Your husband needs to cancel the invite immediately. Not a home. People who are sideline observers don't get tickets to the main event. Not stay home. After everything she has done, he let her return into your lives as nothing? No way. I will put a stop there. Your mother-in-law's the a-hole, but your husband is too. These things must be talked between both parts, because marriage means that you're a team. And being 10 years without contact, I don't know. It seems to me that he was in contact with her. I don't find any reason why after 10 years they decided to reconnect just because they ran into one another. Not stay whole. Protect your child from a toxic person. I don't believe they were in contact. I know he tried to contact her a few times and she asked to be left alone. He seemed genuinely shocked when he saw her with her 2 new kids. They just ran into each other and he took the opportunity and mother-in-law was open to it. But to be honest, doesn't seem very affected by any of this. Info. Can you shed any light on why she would reject her child like that? A man who did nothing wrong. It's unfathomable to me. I think she was tired of paying for other people's weddings. She had been paying her parents' bills since she was like 12 or 13. She had paid for 2 weddings before this and never got one of her own. She was lonely and wanted a man, but worked all the time and had no social skills from getting homeschooled. She was homeschooled. She was working. Seeing me, who she never liked happy, set her off. She probably had him too young and felt trapped, but I seemed to be the catalyst that she wouldn't take it anymore.
Update. I, 30 female, cheated on my husband, 27 male, and now I suspect he's seeing another woman. Original post. I know I did something awful and disgusting, and when I couldn't take the guilt anymore, I cut off my affair partner and confessed everything to my husband. He got more upset and depressed than angry, and I begged for him to not divorce me. I proposed counseling, therapy, even allowing him to sleep with other women, but he wasn't interested. He said he wanted to try to work us out, and I jumped in being the best wife a man can ask for. I cook his favorite dishes, leave him loving notes, and bought new lingerie to entice him. His reactions are lukewarm at best. He smiles and thanks me, but not once he has said he loves me since I have confessed. He barely initiates anything, and I basically have to push myself on him, not that he complains. Sometimes we talk about this, but I think I still lost the man I love. His behavior with me feels very artificial and nothing changes his facade. I can be playful, I can be sad, I can get angry and I can get seductive, but his reaction is always the stupid smile and polite words. He was so emotional and sincere before all of this happened. I want him to let out his true emotions with me, even if he hates me. I still love him so much. What can I do to fix this? Now for the top advice before reading the updates. There's nothing you can do to fix this. You most likely ruined your marriage irreparably. Good job. Leave that man alone. You said you've tried everything, but that's not true. You haven't tried being patient. Don't pressure him into being intimate with you to assuage your own guilt. That's not going to help him heal from the hurt you caused. You had an affair. The wound that inflicted runs deeply, and it will not heal overnight. If you want your marriage to work, you have to resign yourself to the fact that it could take years to repair the damage you've caused, and things may never be exactly as they were before. Give him time, and when he's ready, let him come to you and tell you what he needs from you to make this work. Don't try to push it or put pressure on him. If anything, that will just push him further away. The things you've been doing so far haven't been focused on helping him heal. They've been focused on helping you feel less guilty. Being selfish is what got you into this mess in the first place. You're just going to have to let yourself feel awful for a while. And if you can't do that, you may as well just leave him. Exactly this. Her being a perfect wife sounds like a pathetic excuse to skirt around a problem and make her feel she's trying and showing she loves him just to make her feel less guilty. She truly hasn't accepted accountability and isn't trying to figure out why she's strayed. Otherwise, what's to say she does it again further down the line? Her list of things to show she loves him, she doesn't understand that means nothing to her husband, as she still cheated on him for months. If she's focused on him getting better, she'd ask him what he wants, rather than do stuff she thinks will help. She's love bombing him, which is a manipulative tactic to make him stay. She's scared of him leaving, rather than ashamed of what she's done to him in their marriage. She deserves to feel crap for a while. She doesn't even seem to comprehend that however she feels, he feels it 100,000 times more intensely, as he is the one who got cheated on. You killed the joyful, sincere, emotional man. Do you understand? That man is dead. Gone. I felt it myself. Betrayed by the woman that I thought was my actual soulmate. Yeah, that's how fast it dies. I tried for about a year, but I could never find that man again. And couldn't forgive her. He'd be a true saint if he were able. No, I don't want to believe this. He's still in there somewhere. Yes, for someone other than you. Now for the first update. He knows I cheated. We didn't separate and I begged him to not divorce and let me fix this. He agreed, but his behavior since my confession has basically been one of indifference. Like I wrote in my last post, I do my best to be the best wife he could ask for. I cook his favorite foods, get him gifts, screw his brains out every night. He just smiles and thanks me. He acts kind and never yells at me, but I feel his icy indifference under that mask of courtesy. 2 weeks ago, he started coming home late. Very late. And when he does, he just goes to bed. I ask him what's going on, and he told me in the kindest way possible that it's not my business. I call him when he stays out and he picked up only once. I heard a woman laughing in the background. I am starting to think he is cheating back on me. It freaking hurts. If he told me, at least I would do my best to stomach it. I deserve this after all. But he won't tell me. He just shuts me out. A common friend told me she spotted him in a car with a woman she didn't recognize, and this felt like a stab in the heart. She said she couldn't describe her exactly because she wore big sunglasses, but she recognized my husband because of his particular taste in neckties. They were talking, but my friend said that from their position, it looked like they were holding their hands or one of them was touching the other's lap. I don't know what to do. If he is having an affair, I deserve it, but I need to know. The uncertainty is killing me. Should I confront him? Should I try to find out more? I don't know how much more I can take of this. I wish he would at least communicate with me. Just ask him. You hurt him, and now he's hurting you. I don't believe your marriage is salvageable at this point if he's cheating to get back at you. He won't talk to me. He's dissociating from you, probably seeing someone else, but regardless, it's over. Sounds like you've been reduced to roommate, yes? Not even a roommate. Someone said I've been reduced to a bagmaid. Oh no, if it isn't the consequences of your own actions. Your marriage is over. Move on. What do you expect from him? To talk to me, even just to insult or berate me. At least we would be communicating. He speaks only in one-word sentences with me. Sometimes he won't even do that. Just point at something like a bottle of water to ask me to pass it to him. Get an uncontested divorce. Move on. Lessons learned. Life is too short for all that BS. Or just open the marriage and find a boyfriend. Eventually the marriage will dissolve naturally. Why do you have to be so mean? I know I am an idiot already. Why do you have to be so mean? Cheating on your husband and breaking up your marriage isn't a nice thing to do. Can't take all the criticism? Well, maybe you shouldn't have slept with another guy. Sorry, your client for months. Leave your ex-husband alone and stop calling what he's doing cheating. He isn't cheating. You told him he could sleep with other women. And guess what? He is. Don't like it? Should have kept your pants on. Leave him alone and stop forcing him to give you an answer. And yeah, you are a bangmaid. Sucks to suck. Now for the last update. He left me and he was cheating on me. I did like you guys said and begged him to talk to me. He didn't want to, but I cried and yelled so much I puked all over. He got softer with me. He helped me clean up and we talked. I asked him if he was cheating on me and he said he was talking with someone but didn't do anything with her. I asked if she was the woman my friend saw him with. He thought on it a little but said no. It was another woman whom he met a month ago in his office. I asked him how could he and said I gave him permission. And he didn't do anything besides unloading his problems and our situation with her. But he played it like he was having a full affair, so I could feel what he felt. Especially because, according to him, I neglected him and made it obvious I was cheating on him. He said he was suffering and I was almost rubbing it in his face. I told him I wasn't doing it on purpose, and he said that makes it even worse because I didn't care at all. He said that everything I did after confessing meant nothing and just made him think I am selfish, self-centered, and lack any sort of self-respect. I asked him if we could work on myself and our marriage, but he said we can have counseling to sort ourselves out, but the marriage is over. He said he wishes no ill on me and decided to cut his charade because he could no longer bear see the woman he once loved suffer like that. But he said I am no longer that woman. I started sobbing again and he held me, but he kept saying no when I asked him that we work this out. I asked him what he was going to do, and he's moving out. He already found a new place. I asked him if he was going to live with that woman, and he said he won't, but she was close enough. I asked him how he could pick a total stranger he met a month ago over his wife of 5 years, and he said his wife of 5 years no longer exists. He has to pick between two strangers, and that woman made a much better impression on him. I told him he was a fool, and he could not know this woman will probably use and dump him. He got harsh and said she's better than me for sure. He said he won't say to our families our marriage ended because I cheated, but because we grew apart, and that he will leave the house to me as long as I make the divorce smooth. But if I try to take him to the cleaners, drag it out, or cause any problem, he will tell everyone what I did and destroy me and my reputation. This happened yesterday, and he has already packed up almost everything. I can't stop crying, and I can't believe this is happening. This is horrible and unfair. He said his wife of 5 years no longer exists. He has to pick between two strangers, and that woman made a much better impression on him. Damn, that's hell of a line. Husbands had time to mull over some good ones. Socrates said, by all means marry. If you get a good wife, you'll be happy. If you get a bad one, you'll become a philosopher. Seems that husband has had time to mull and become quite a philosopher. The husband wanted her to feel what he felt, but had too much respect for her or himself to actually cheat. I respect that, but must be tough when you're emotionally cut up. And then she wanted to drag him down, not realizing how she made him feel down during it all. People that ugly on the inside are convinced that everyone is. That's how they delude themselves into believing that it's okay for them to treat others like trash. If everyone's evil, no one is, themselves included. This reminds me of so many other posts from cake eaters. We'll have their own affair, but oh no, my significant other is cheating on me? How dare they? In this case, she also did basically give him permission, and also he clearly stopped caring for her from the moment she confessed. It was so clear. There was a post about a wife who wanted an open marriage, and for 2 years she got her way, while her husband worked more hours in order to pay everything off. And then he gets a girlfriend/lover, and the wife demands that he buys a bigger house and newer car, and gets shocked by divorce papers. Last story. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend after learning about her credit card debt? I, 29 male, recently broke up with my girlfriend Lisa, 28 female, after dating for a year. My friends think I'm a huge a-hole to break up with someone over money, but I feel that I did the right thing. One of my friends suggested me to post here, so that I can see I am making the biggest mistake of my life. For context, I have a comfortable job now, and financially in a great place. I grew up poor and had to scrape through most of my college and scholarships. Luckily, I found good mentors in college and was able to finish my PhD in a very lucrative field. I know what it's like to have nothing, and I'm very frugal with my resources. I met Lisa a year ago on a dating app. Lisa is beautiful, smart, and very charming. Our relationship has been great so far, and we have never had any real fights or differences. She also has great taste, which I lack, and helped me with my wardrobe and making my apartment so homely. Her lease was supposed to be up in a few months, and I asked her to move in with me. She was incredibly happy and agreed to it. However, we decided to discuss finances and other important things before we take the next step. 2 weeks ago, we sat down, and I made an Excel sheet to decide how we are planning to pay for stuff. I knew I make significantly more than her, and I offered to pay proportionally, which she happily agreed to. For that purpose, I asked her how much she makes, and it was lower than I would have anticipated based on her lifestyle. I asked her how she affords all the designer bags and going to fancy vacations on that salary. She looked embarrassed, and told me that she has around 20K credit card debt. I knew about her student loans, but that did not bother me. However, I realized she spends way more than she can afford and had no real answers on how she plans to pay back the credit card's balance. She told me that moving in together would help towards paying off the debt, as her monthly living expenses will go down significantly, and she can pay that towards the debt. She told me she would be debt-free within a year if we moved in. However, she also told me she could not be on a lease as she has poor credit history. All of that led me to rethink our whole relationship. I was looking forward to a long-term relationship and also marrying her one day. However, based on what I have seen so far, she is very irresponsible with money. I have trauma from childhood where my father would spend money on gambling and on fancy items to impress his friends that we could not afford, and that meant we barely were scraping by. My mother kept the house together and made sure we had food on the table. I cannot be with a person who is so irresponsible with money and suffers like my mother did. I communicated that to Lisa and she was upset with me. She told me that she is not asking for handouts and she will take care of her debt. She told me that she made some dumb decisions years ago and is just caught in a bad loop with credit cards. She also said that she is willing to learn from me, as her parents never taught her about how to handle money. She pointed out things I learned from her that I lacked. She asked me to give her time, but I just don't think I can play the same role as my mother. We talked about it for a while, and I told her we cannot move in together until she takes care of the debt. She said she cannot afford to live on her own and take care of it. Finally, we broke up over that. She still wants to get back together, but I told her I need time to think. My friends love Lisa and feel that she's a perfect partner for me. They think she has made me into a better person, and I'm stupid to throw away a perfectly good relationship over something that can be fixed. I just don't think I trust her to change, and I know that eventually I will end up supporting her lifestyle if we get married, since money would not be an issue at that point for her. Am I the a-hole to break up over this, and am I throwing away a perfectly good relationship over money? Now for the comments. Here's the issue with her plan. It does not involve her forming a budget where she has a surplus. It does not involve her making sacrifices for her financial future. I would want to see the following from her. 1. A budget where she's in surplus. 2. Tracking her expenses and spending over the next 3 months to see whether she can actually stick to a budget where she's in surplus and paying down her bills. If you need to walk her through this, then help her do so. But do not move in with her to save money before she has developed the skills to manage her income by herself. You are quite right that after you marry her, problems will go away, and you will be responsible for her debts, and she'll feel enabled to spend and make more debt because you will make the problems go away. This is a recipe for hardship in your marriage. I would do 1 and 2 and go from there. If she balks at trying this because it's harder than just moving in, just walk away. Not the a-hole. Your concerns are reasonable. Neither of us brought debt into our marriage, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, we ended up about 50K in debt. It took me a little over 2 years to pay that off. I agree, not the a-hole. She seems to think her spending problems will magically go away when her living expenses go down. But realistically, she'll just start spending more. Lol. I can testify that they don't change their spending habits. They will just operate under the sense it's not your income, it's our income. My ex-husband and I were in the same situation, but I was blinded that he would actually become a responsible adult. Boy, was I wrong. Don't make my mistake, OP. I've recovered, but it took me a year to get out from under the hole that was made. I made the same mistake, and the initial debt he told me about turned out to be the tip of the iceberg. My moving in was meant to help tackle that, but I eventually found out about 3 times more debt. We borrowed money from family, which I effectively paid back, and even then he went back to spending and accruing more debt. I wish I'd taken a far harder line, rather than trusting him to be sensible. I even found a credit card he'd somehow managed to take out in my name. I was very lucky to get out of the marriage more or less unscathed financially. OP, your partner may be useless financially and never figured out how to budget, or there may be something underlying driving the spending that needs unpicking. I wouldn't blame you for making this a deal breaker though. It would be for me. Level of income, not necessarily. Inability to manage money? Yes.